Hi everyone, it's Miss Boylan. We're off to a really good start. Each of you has accessed Edgenuity and most of you have completed a lessons study question, at least one of a lessons study questions. And as such, I thought it would be a good idea to take a minute and talk about study questions. So the most important thing to note is that study questions are initially auto-graded by Edgenuity. And you may be asking yourself, how can a computer grade student writing submissions? And this is a really good question. So the way the system works is that each study question has a series of keywords associated with the question. If your response to the study question makes sense and it includes the keywords, then your response is auto-graded as correct. If your response is missing the keywords associated with the question, then the system marks the response as incorrect, giving you a 0 for the question. Okay, so it's important to understand that every day, generally twice a day, I check Edgenuity to track your progress in the course. If I see that one of your study questions was marked as incorrect, I review your response to see if I think that the response accurately addresses the question. If I feel that the response is good, I override the grade given by Edgenuity. If, however, I feel that your response is lacking, what I'll do is I'll reset the study question, giving you a second attempt, and I'll provide you with guidance in grade speed so that you can adjust your response and improve your score. I provide you one reset per study question, meaning you get a total of 2 attempts at that particular study question. The second response goes through the same steps I just mentioned, first auto-graded, and then second teacher-reviewed if necessary. So if your second response to the study question still does not accurately address the question, the score for the question remains a 0, and the 0 is then averaged with the other 2 study question scores from that lesson. And then that score is what is posted to grade speed. So the score posted in grade speed for, say, lesson 1 study questions, that's an average score of the 3 study questions for lesson 1. So now that you understand how study questions are graded, I wanted to give you a few tips for maximizing the score you can earn on them. First, when reviewing the lesson instruction and taking your notes, be sure to highlight the keywords of a key term's definition. So if they give a key term, if they give the definition, be sure to note the keywords that are associated with that definition. In addition, if a bigger concept, not a definition, but a concept is presented and there are a number of, say, factors included in that concept, you want to be sure that you note all the factors that are associated with the concept. Okay, so then the second thing is when you're crafting your response to your study question, be sure that you incorporate the keywords that you highlighted in your notes, right? So no reason just to highlight them in your notes, not to use them. Just be sure that you're using those keywords in your response. Now, of course, I don't want you to just list keywords. You still have to create an intellectual response, an academic response, but just make sure that that response incorporates the keywords. And then my last tip for you is to check grade speed often, reviewing the feedback I provide. So in my feedback, I'll tell you first off that the study question has been reset, and I'll specify which study question number it was. And then I'll provide you guidance on how to ensure that your response meets the requirements of the question. Okay, I'll tell you to consider this, or like there was one that was talking about free market, and the big thing about free market is we're talking about supply and demand, right? Supply and demand is what drives free market economy. But if your response doesn't address supply and demand, it's going to be marked as wrong. So I'm going to ask you in your feedback to consider how supply and demand plays a role in the free market economy, and then you need to ensure that those things are incorporated into your response. So I try to do that, provide you a unique feedback that gives you guidance so that your questions, your responses are correct. Okay, so that's all I got to say. If you have any questions or concerns regarding study questions or anything else, please ask. I'm here to help in any way I can. And off we go.